Today, we're starting with one of the most important themes in human geography: population and health. When we talk about population, we're not just asking how many people live on Earth, but also where are those people distributed and why do they live there. So let's dive into three key ideas: population concentration, population density, and how the physical environment influences where people choose to live. Population concentration. First, where is the world's population clustered? The short answer is, people are not evenly spread out. In fact, most of humanity lives in just a few concentrated regions. There are four major population clusters we need to remember: East Asia, South Asia, Europe, and Southeast Asia. Together, these regions hold the majority of the world's population. Think about countries like China, India, Japan, Indonesia, and the nations of Europe, densely packed areas with long histories of settlement and agriculture. Outside of these areas, the population is much thinner. Large parts of the world, like deserts, mountains, rainforests, and polar regions, have far fewer people. Why? Because the physical environment often makes it hard to survive or to farm. For example, very cold areas like Siberia, very dry deserts like the Sahara, or very high mountains like the Himalayas aren't well suited for large populations. Population density. Now, let's talk about population density, in other words, how closely people live together in a given area. Geographers use three main measures to describe this. 1. Arithmetic density. This is the simplest measure, the total number of people divided by the total land area. It gives us an average, but it doesn't always tell the full story. 2. Physiological density. This one looks at the number of people per unit of arable land, meaning land that can be farmed. This measure is especially useful, because it shows the pressure people put on the land that actually produces food. 3. Agricultural density. This compares the number of farmers to the amount of arable land. It helps us understand how developed or technologically advanced a country's agriculture is. For example, countries with fewer farmers per unit of farmland often rely on advanced farming technology, while countries with higher numbers may depend more on human labor. So, each type of density tells us something different about the way people use the land and resources around them. Key issues recap. To wrap up, let's review the big takeaways. The world's population is not spread out evenly, it's heavily clustered in just 4 regions. The physical environment, things like climate, landforms, and soil, often discourages population concentration in certain areas. And finally, population density can be described in different ways: arithmetic density, physiological density, and agricultural density. Each one highlights a different relationship between people and the land. Understanding these concepts helps us see not just where people live, but also why they live there, and how population patterns affect health, resources, and society as a whole. And that's our introduction to population and health, focusing on where the world's people are distributed. In our next session, we'll go deeper into how population growth and demographic changes shape societies over time.